First of all, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's Spark on Sicoob's Moob, communication optimization. We have normally around 46 registered persons today. Before we start, and as always, we would like to say that after the presentation, we will have a short Q&A session. So there you can ask your questions or give a feedback to Carlos, or if you can also write your question in the chat here if you want to. So we would love to hear from you. So today we are very pleased to welcome and to listen to a presentation by Mr. Carlos Primão, who is IT Development Manager at Sicoob in Brazil. Carlos is an IT professional with 30 years of financial institution experience. He has also worked for several banks in the past and is with Sicoob again since 2017. So today we will get an exclusive insight into Sicoob's application called Moob, which enables and facilitates the contact between the members and its cooperative. So, Mr. Primão, we're excited to hear more about this application and its many features in detail. So the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, good evening, everyone. So my name is Carlos Primão. I work in Sicoob in IT areas. For who don't know about Sicoob, Sicoob is the greatest national credit union system in Brazil. And this credit union system is regulated by Brazilian Central Bank. Nowadays, my team is responsible for a set of applications, and one of them is Sicoob Moob. Let's start here. Before we start talk about Sicoob Moob, let's talk about the credit union communication scenario. One of the most significant challenges for the credit union and the other companies, of course, face today is the lack of communication between them and their members. This problem can arise with some factors, such as poor communication channels, ineffective customer service, and lack of engagement. The Sicoob Moob wants to fulfill these poor communication channels. They were created to try to minimize this problem that we face. When we talk about Sicoob Moob, we have some front ends. Sicoob Moob has 3 front ends. 2 front ends for members, Android and iOS mobile application, and a web application. This is for members. We have 1 front end for credit union employees, and for it we have a module inside the CIBP core banking application. CIBP core banking application is an internal front end for Sicoob and covers all financial products like current account, investment, credit, operation, saving accounts, and etc. So we have, when employees want to interact with our system, they use CIBP internal core banking. The Sicoob Moob application have been designed to make the experience more intuitive and user-friendly. The Sicoob Moob have 6 big sections that we call events, feeds, my cooperative or my credit union, votes, community, and university. I will explain a little bit of just each section of them. Here we have some numbers that demonstrate the interactions and connections between cooperative with members. Here we have a number of users using Sicoob Moob, number of advertisements, number of surveys, the feeds, the votes, the students, and we have the number of events, general meetings, extraordinary general meetings, and pre-general meetings. And I will detail about these events further. The first section here is the feed sections. Is the space where credit union can publish some news for members. So the credit union can publish news about different subjects, providing an exclusive and fast communication. In this screen, we have two news, one about the promotional campaign and another about Sicoob Institution Tour. Using the feeds, we can ensure that our members are always informed and aware of the latest credit union news. So the credit union can insert a news, and this news will appear in the front end that the members uses. And so this is I think it's an important section because here the credit union can send news to the members. Here is the CIBP internal front end where the employees can insert the news with text, images, or a video. And it's important that they can select the target audience here, including a news for all cooperative members or a specific group. This specific group can be manually or using a list. For example, here we have some cooperative with delegates. So they have 20 delegates and they need to send a news for specific delegates. So they can select this target audience and send for this specific group. And this target audience ensure that our message is being delivered to people who need to hear it. So this is our backend, it's an internal front end. We have another section that is my cooperative or my credit union. We have a range of credit union data, including total assets, adjusted shareholder equity, credit operations, results, and number of members. By providing this information, we aim to maintain a simple way to visualize the credit union numbers. It was a lack because sometimes our members ask how members our cooperative have nowadays. And this type of question was answered by an employee. And nowadays we have the numbers of the credit union. And these numbers we can verify with how many operations, credit operations we have, and the results, and how is the results during the years. We have another section that events, the members can participate in events. And participation in the life of the credit union is extremely important for its success. This corresponds to participate of members in events, social causes, and credit union governance. These event sections is the most important here in Sicoob Moob application. And I will tell you why this become most important. Here in the back end, we can start an event, create an event, of course, with description, images, target audience, enrollment period, amount of tickets, event schedule, live broadcast, feed highlights. And we can start an event, we can start a vote process, finish a vote process, get a vote results, all in this our backend. In online events, member can participate in online events too. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 has drastically changed the way people connect and interact with one another. With social distancing and lockdowns in place, traditional in-person events have been severely limited. In response, the Sicoob Moob was ready for this scenario in 2020. We developed the Sicoob Moob during 2019, and in 2020, when we started the pandemic, the Sicoob Mob was ready and was used a lot. So people continues to participate in cooperative decisions safely and comfort of our homes. Additionally, Sicoob Mob have made that possible for individuals who may not have been able to attend in-person events due to geographic or financial constraint. We have some place that the person have to travel 2 or 3 hours to go to the cooperative, the credit union. When attending in-person event, the members can confirm participation. So in 2019, we have in-person events, and the people can confirm by reading a QR code, the presence, or inserting a code when in the event the person said, "Oh, the code for confirm participation is the number X," and the people put the X and confirm their participation in the event. Votes. The members can vote in an event. The member can vote about a subject, and here is the subject is for to give 25% of an amount for social causes, and the people can say yes and or no. So the people can vote about a subject. But they can vote in candidates, for example, delegates, director member, and etc. Here is an example where we have a list of people that can be voted. If all this insertion is done in our backend, and here we have the name of person, the photo, the briefing about this, and the people can select and confirm the vote. And all this votes was very used in the pandemic period, because all decision in the credit union was done using the Moob, Sicoob Moob. Another section that we have is community. This is a space, an exclusive space for the advertisement of goods, products, and services for members and cooperative. So members and cooperative can create their own advertisement. So here it's an example of lands and vehicles that they can insert an advertisement. Is another step, another way to connect people inside the credit union. And sometimes the members have some products and share with the community is aggregate a value for them. And members can see the opportunity in their region. That's another example of advertisement that we have in Sicoob Mob. Doing this, we need the community space objective is to create a customer-to-customer relationship. Okay. Based on another principle of cooperativism, the Sicoob Mob here has a section that promotes the education and training of members and non-members. The universal section has courses on financial education, technology, regulations, career planning, sustainability, and much more. Here, an example, it's about career planning, life and career, planning the career, and another small courses that can do. We have some that's 15 minutes for 1 hour of course here inside this university. This was a request from our Sicoob Institute to have a way to promote courses in the community. So we insert this part of Sicoob University here to bring these courses for the members and non-members too. So that's it. It's on a highlight of what we have this in Sicoob Moob.
Thank you so much, Carlos, for sharing this interesting presentation. Does anybody have any question or a feedback or would like to give a comment? Claudio, hello, Claudio. Welcome today. Please go ahead.
Hello, good morning. Congratulations, Carlos. That's very, very interesting and useful platform developed and covering most of the referential profiles that the cooperative bank has. You talk about members, you talk about social events, you talk about students plus university or financial education, but in a very sensitive and concrete way. My question is the opportunity or the possibilities to replicate or to reuse the basis of this platform is now available for different partners of CIBP, and then having the possibility to customize the logo and content, or is only developed for being used at Sicoob?
Hi, Claudio. Thank you for your question. It's interesting. Here in Sicoob, every time we are asked about our applications. Sicoob Moob is the small application if we talk about the CIBP, the all core banking that Sicoob has. In the past, we had some conversation with another countries, I think was Uruguay, Argentina, about our applications. But specific about Sicoob Moob, they were created specifically for Brazil. But of course, it can be customized. Because it's not a so big application, and I think it's more about to translate some screens that are in Portuguese and change the logos, because beside the Sicoob Moob use for events, we use the Zoom plugin, and but I think it's not difficult because the application it's simple, and the terms I think is more translate the terms that is in Portuguese for another language. But it's something that can be investigated and we can talk about. One point that is interesting, that when we created the Sicoob Moob during 2019, we didn't expect that Moob was used a lot. Well, let's introduce this application and let's start the credit union, create the feeds, this communication with the members. But so in March 2020, the lockdown and pandemic, and and it was in the period when our credit union starts in end of March, beginning of April. The credit union starts the events and changed the directory of the credit union, need to vote some subjects, and the mob was ready for this and was not thinking about a pandemic or on a situation like that.
I think there's also a question in the chat from Maria Celeste, who we see here on the screen. Hello, Maria. Her question is, besides pandemic, are you expecting to promote the use of the tool, for example, for events and votes?
Yeah. For example, we have a lot of conversation with our credit union because we will start again in March and April, the period of events. But the event was the majority is hybrid. So the people can participate in present or can participate by video and can vote by video too. And we have some big credit unions with almost 1 million members, and so they need to all participate in this. And we are talking how to do this kind of events that will be hybrid in this moment. It's not only in the pandemic, but it continues to use for votes, for presenting on some subjects.
Does this answer your question, Maria? Yes.
Oh, sorry for my English, because I think it was 8 years that I didn't use it.
If nobody has a question for the moment, Carlos, I have a question. I would like to know, how many users do you have of this application, and out of how many clients, and what is the age range of the users? I don't know if you know that, but this would be interesting to hear how this is in Brazil.
Yeah, we have more than 400,000 users using this app. I don't know the range of the ages of that use the application, but some old guys was forced to use it because during the pandemic they was forced to use it because it was only by online events, and so it's interesting because some new requests was arrived. Oh, I need the letters will need to be bigger, or I need some different disposition in the screen. But I think everyone was forced to use it because it was the only option to participate and vote in some general meetings, for example.
Thank you. Interesting. Thank you. And Carlos, you also mentioned this application was ready in 2019, before the pandemic. How long did it take you to develop this application from the beginning?
Almost 1 year. Almost 1 year, because we started with some simple functionalities. For example, nowadays we are implementing a pop-up vote. So we didn't have. We have a transmission, but if the people want to vote, they need to minimize the transmission, enter in another section, and choose to vote. And nowadays we are in an online event. In back end, the credit union start a vote, and then one pop-up appears in the transmission, and the people can start to vote at this moment. So every time we have some requests from credit unions to new functionalities, But in the beginning, it was only 1 year, but we continues to develop this since 2020, improving the tools.
Thank you. And what was the biggest challenge for you to while developing or while you launched it? If you can say it.
I think yeah, I can say. I think when we have a lot of credit unions involved, the most difficult is to conciliate the different requests, because one credit union wants something like red and another something like blue, and we have to conciliate this, and sometimes we need to call everyone for a call and decide what we will do first, because sometimes it's difficult for us here, for me as a manager, decide if I will do A or B. So sometimes it's better to call everyone that's involved in the request and have an agreement what we will do first. I think this is our big challenge, because every week we have some request. And so sometimes if we will not do a request, it could be some people can say, oh, they are not doing what we want. That's it.
Thank you. Juliana, you wrote a question in the chat. Would you like to say it, or? Okay, well, I will read it to you then. She's asking, how was the adaptation of the cooperatives to the app? Did you have to make many adjustments after the implementation?
No, we didn't a lot of adjustment. Of course, the request was so many requests, but when they started to use was in the pandemic. So we can change from 1 week to another the way the application was done. But the application was very intuitive. So it's so simple. So that the person has a feed about the event, a general meeting, and they access that link, and then in that link there's have another link saying about the transmission. And I think the most important was the employees in credit union was all the time respond our members' questions. So I think it was simple, because I think but there was no another way to do this that time. But I think now the application, of course, is more intuitive than was in 2020. But what I think that is.
Does this answer your question, Juliana? Yes. Okay.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, Juliana.
Does anybody else have a question? I have one more question, Carlos, sorry. So do you sometimes also ask the users for feedback on the app, or how do you get a feedback, or don't you get a feedback?
And nowadays our feedback is from the credit unions, the cooperatives. Nowadays we don't have a channel for the members to give their feedbacks. Of course, they can do this using the tools in the stores. Google Play Store, for example, the members can ask there's something, but the most feedback was from the credit unions, because the members will complain about the app with them, and so they sent to us.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, clear. Anybody else would like to give a feedback or has a question for Carlos? No. Carlos, if you don't mind, would you mind if I share your email address after this?
Of course.
You know, with the presentation. And I said, okay, so if anybody would like to ask Carlos a question or, you know, would like to exchange with him, I will send it to you. I would like to thank everybody and especially Carlos today for giving us this interesting presentation. Thank you everyone for joining, and it was excellent overview of your app. I learned something today. So I hope to see you again. The next Spark is scheduled for the 30th of March on financial education, just to let you know, but you will receive an invitation. So thank you so much. Have a good day and a good evening and a good morning, rest of the morning then for some of you. See you soon. Thank you, Carlos.